Are you ready to embark on a journey? Today we're going to unveil the 7 most iconic guitar riffs that every guitarist should know. These legendary riffs have defined generations and continue to inspire musicians from around the world. So grab your guitar and let's dive in. We're going to start in 1967, Cream, Sunshine of Your Love. So for this riff, Eric Clapton utilizes something he called the woman tone. Take your bridge pickup and roll the tone the entire way off. It sounds really sweet. I'm playing on the 10th fret, playing with the D blues scale. Here's how it looks. Okay, so we're playing the 12th fret of the D string first with the 3rd finger. It's 12, 12, 10, 12. Go to the A string, play 12, 11, 10. 1 finger for each fret. Shift 2 frets to your left onto the 8th fret. It's low E10, A8, and low E10 twice. You'll notice I'm doing a little bit of a bend on the A string. Looks like this. We do it again, but this time there's a call and response situation where the last part of the riff is different. It's kind of responding to the call of the first one. 12, 12, 10, 12. 12, 11, 10. Shift 2 frets to your left. This time we're going to go like this. So instead of being like this, it's this. That's called call and response. It's a question and answer situation. It happens all the time in music. All right, here's the riff all together. Super cool, super iconic. Love that riff. Riff number 6 is going to take us back to 1980, way down under for AC/DC's Back in Black. All right, so here's how you play this one. We're starting with an E power chord first, the E, A, and D strings, then a D power chord, D, G, and B strings, and then an A power chord, which is the A, D, and G strings. Looks like this. You might have noticed I was putting some chicks, like that, in between the chords. That's on the record. It goes like chick, 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 click, click, chord, chick, then down, up, down, chick, down, up, down, chick, chick, and then the riff. So you can work up to throwing those chicks in once you get the chords down without the chicks. It takes a bit of practice. All right, so the first riff between the power chords is an E minor pentatonic scale. It goes like this. So it's 3-0 on high E, 3-0 on B. Put your 2nd and 3rd finger together on the G string on the 2nd fret. What we're doing is bending this a whole step. It sounds like this, but it's a bend. And we're going to bend up, we're going to bend back down, and then we're going to pull off, all in one motion. Just like this. It's very fast. The second riff, in between the power chords, kind of the response to the call and response thing I was talking about before, where we have a question and an answer. It's all in the 4th position. 1 finger for each fret. It goes like this. That's 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, 7-7. So you have to utilize each individual finger. So we have first riff. Second riff. If you're struggling with getting a lot of extra noise when you're trying to play these riffs, take a look at this video on the channel right here. It will teach you how to dampen the strings and keep things quieter. I think every single one of these riffs has completely blown my mind at some point. They're all really simple, but they're so hyper catchy. If you're enjoying today's lesson, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. All right, Crazy Train. Here's how we play this riff. We're going to play on the 2nd fret. We're in the 2nd position, 1 finger for each fret. We can separate this into 4 different sections to learn how to play it better. Here we go. The first section looks like this. So it's 2, 2, 4, 2. 2nd fret of low E, then A4, back to low E2. This is called a pedal tone. A pedal tone is a riff that keeps going back and forth to the same note. All right, looks like this. Now we're going to use our little finger and play the 5th fret of A, back to low E2, and then the 3rd finger for the 4th fret of A, back to low E2. That looks like this. Put that together, the first half goes like this. I'll do that very slowly. Second part, we're going to play A2, low E5 with your little finger, low E4 with your 3rd finger, back to low E5 with your little finger. So that 3rd section looks like this. And then the 4th section is this. A2, low E5, low E4, open low E. If you're struggling with finger independence and strength when you're trying to play this riff, take a look at this video right here. There's a couple exercises that will help you. For riff number 4, we're going to head to 1970. Another Ozzy Osbourne song makes the list. This time the guitar player is Tony Iommi. The riff is Iron Man. Here's how you play this one. All on the A string, doing A power chord forms like this. It's going to be 3 strings ultimately. We can start with 2 or even 1. It goes 2, 5, 5 slide 7, 10 slide down to 9, 10 slide down to 9, 10, 5, 5 slide 7, 2, 5, 5 slide 7, 10 slide 10 slide 10, 5, 5 slide 7. Try that with 2 strings next. And then try 3 strings. The A, D, and G strings. Choosing these 7 riffs was not easy. I probably looked at 100 potential candidates that could have made the list, but I think these 7 represent the best. For number 3 on our list, we're going to head to 1974. This is the only riff on the entire list that uses a clean guitar tone. Leonard Skinner's Sweet Home Alabama. Okay, so here's how you play this. We start with a D chord first, to a C add 9, to a G. I call this the rock G system, but in this case it's D mixolydian because D is the tonic. Here's what we do. Play the D string first. The first one is palm muted and the second one is not. And we're going to arpeggiate the notes of the D chord like this. The next thing we do is go into the C add 9 form like this. We're going to play the 3rd fret of the A string. And it's twice, but there's a little dead note between the two like this. So tick-a-doom. Play the B string, and then open G next. That looks like this. Now we play the 3rd fret of the low E string next, right into the G form. But again, there's a little dead note between the two. Tick-a-doom. Play the open G string. So slow motion looks like this. Now there's a riff that goes like this. That's O2 on A, O2 on D, then a pull off back to second fret of A, pull off from the second fret of G to open G. Here it is slowly. So we have this. Back to the D chord again. Articulating to the C add 9. G. The second riff goes like this. So that's open G, pull off from 2 to O, from 4 to O, and then the 5th fret of the G string, we're going to bend that a whole step with what I call a quack bend. Like a quack, it should sound like a D note when you bend it. So. That is such a cool riff. For 50 years now, people have cranked that up when it comes on the radio. For riff number 2, let's go to 1969 for what may very well be the first heavy metal guitar riff of all. Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. All right, here's how we play this one. Third finger on low E7, first finger on A5, back to low E7, and then back to A5. But we're going to put a slight attitude bend on the 5th fret of the A string like this. Booga, booga. We're playing A bar chord form on the 7th fret, and chug. Chord chug, chug, chug. Chugging the low E string. Chord chug, 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 chord. That is such an awesome end-of-the-world thug riff, as David Lee Roth would call it. Before we get to number 1, a couple interesting observations about this list. All of these riffs come from between 1967 and 1980. That's crazy. There was a lot of really great guitar music going on in that time period. The second thing is that 3 of the tunes use an SG, 2 of the other tunes have a Les Paul, and 2 of them have a Strat. We've only heard one so far that's using a Strat, so that should give you an indicator maybe as to what's coming next. But we have SG for Sunshine of Your Love, an SG for Back in Black, an SG for Iron Man, and then the Les Paul was used on Crazy Train, and the Les Paul was used on Whole Lotta Love, and Stratocaster for Sweet Home Alabama. So the SG comes in first place for the guitar that was used the most for these. That's really interesting. But as I mentioned, in first place, Strat style guitar, riff number 1. Here we go. 1972, Ritchie Blackmore's Smoke on the Water. The storyline behind the song Smoke on the Water is really pretty amazing. Definitely check it out. But Deep Purple apparently was making a record at Frank Zappa's studio on Lake Geneva, and the studio caught on fire, and there was fire billowing out across the lake, and they looked at the smoke and they wrote a song about it. Pretty neat. So let's learn how to play this iconic guitar riff. Here we go. We're going to utilize something called a perfect fourth. What that means is I'm going to bar my finger across 2 adjacent strings, starting with the 3rd finger on the 10th fret, across the E string and the A string like this. Then I'm going to go to the 8th fret across the A string and D string with my 1st finger, and then to the 10th fret with my 3rd finger across the A string and D string. It's a little box. Now, like most of these riffs, you'll notice there's a call and response aspect to this one as well, a question answer. It seems to be the ongoing theme for all of these, if not most of these. That's the way music works. You ask a question and then you answer it. So the question was this. The answer So this is a really important melodic aspect to get under your belt. You can see how important it is because it's utilized in all these iconic classic guitar riffs where we're creating sort of a question and answer situation. And then we go back to the first part again, and then we finish. So that's 10, 8, 10, 10, 8, 11, 10, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. And again, the first one's the bottom two strings. And then we go to the next two strings, which are A and D, and then A and D. So it's the bottom strings, then next ones, bottom strings, next ones. With the third finger, we're going to go from 11 to 10, back to 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. So there's some syncopation involved in this. It's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, So it's on the upbeat. Although there's this syncopation aspect involved and it's a little quirky, you've heard this riff a million times, so you can just kind of hear it and play it. One more quick observation I had when I was recording the video. 3 out of these 7 riffs are utilizing the blues scale, and 2 out of the 7 riffs are utilizing the D blues scale. Sunshine of Your Love and Smoke on the Water are the D blues scale, and Iron Man is the B blues scale. The blues scale being a pentatonic scale with a flat 5 added to it. So 3 out of the most iconic guitar riffs of all time, possibly the most iconic guitar riffs of all time, are utilizing the same scale. It's probably really important to learn how to play the blues scale, but wow, my mind is blown. Simplicity at its best. Just awesome. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson. Hopefully you're learning how to play these riffs. I think the takeaway is there's a lot more similarities than differences with these. From the gear that these guys used, to the call and response aspect, to utilizing the blues scale, it's pretty amazing how similar they are. To create such catchy all-time guitar riffs with such simple concepts, it's a good look into how to create melodic guitar riffs. I think it's pretty amazing how great these are, and they're so simple, but they're so great. Make sure you check out the top 5 power chord riffs video on the channel as well. I'll catch you next time.